All right, so now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding the currency to the streams. The way that this works is that each stream and currency are separate entities, and then this is the combination of the two. And then we have a poll which runs in the background, and every so often it will evaluate if it's past this in this number of seconds, or in which is assigned to this next issue date. And if it is, it will evaluate all of the currency users in the stream. And what it'll do is it'll look at a status here, and you can see that a status has a status name and a quantity and a time and a currency and an activity logs. And so this contains individual information about the activity of a user to determine how much currency is accrued. And this is where it all comes together here in the activity log. So that's already written. Currency user here needs to also be in the user and a currency, which is correct. So I think we're ready to go ahead and push this forward. So on my currency stream, I want to have a number of providers on this, right? Just a second. See, I'm almost positive that what I need here is something called a CurrencyStreamProvider. And we'll call this a public base entity. And what this is going to be is it's going to be a GUID for my provider ID and a GUID for my currency stream ID. And then a provider called provider and a currency stream called currency stream. Now when I look at this one, we want to have a number of these prop I collection of those currency stream providers called currency stream providers. Like that. And then on provider, I need to have the same thing here of an I collection of currency stream provider called currency stream providers. Okay. That's way you can just say I only want these users. So after that, I think we're ready to get going on this. So let me do another add migration here, and we're going to say added, and this is going to be called added currency stream providers. And I'll do an update database. Okay. So now what I can do is on my front end, when we're creating a currency stream, we need to do that on the back end here on the hub. So let's first set all my startup projects. And then if I look at the web hub, I need to make a new request here called a public asynchronous task called a create stream currency. And this is going to be a GUID for my currency ID. We also want to have a GUID for my stream ID. So this is going to be called a create stream currency. We'll also have one called remove stream currency. So stream currency create. And what you're going to do is we're going to do a services.create stream currency asynchronous. And what that looks like is a task of a stream currency VM called create stream currency asynchronous, and it's going to be a GUID for my stream ID, a GUID for my currency ID, and a GUID for my application user ID. Okay, if I look at my library, underneath VMs, I have a currency stream VM. Create currency stream asynchronous. So this one is a create currency stream asynchronous, and we're going to pass in my stream ID, my currency ID, and my application user.id. And then this is going to say if my currency stream does not equal to null, then what we can do is we can do a await clients.caller.send asynchronous called a create stream currency. Create currency stream. I'm just making it consistent like that. Okay, and this is a create, and it's going to be a true. And then I want to do a await request currency stream of the, so let's add that one up here as a public asynchronous task called request currency stream, which will be a GUID ID and a and then we need to have another one here for a public asynchronous task called request currencies streams, which will be a GUID for my stream ID. And this needs to be my CurrencyStream.id. And then we'll move these things here. Otherwise, this is going to be a bad request. And it's going to send create currency stream as a false and return. Like that. We also want to have one more here called a remove currency stream. If I look on my iServices, underneath remove, we're going to change this to be a delete. Okay, so let's do this next one. This is a request currency streams, so we can just do this. And my endpoint is going to be a currency streams get, and then a currency stream get, and then a currency stream create, and then a currency stream remove. It's a long enumerator. Okay. currencies streams get. And this is going to be this one is a currency stream DTO array called read currencies streams asynchronous. And it's only going to pass in a stream ID and the application user ID. And then you're going to have a read currency stream asynchronous, which is going to be a ID. And this is a currency stream VM. And then this is a create currency stream asynchronous, which looks right. And then you have one more, which is a bool called remove currency stream asynchronous, which is going to be an ID and the application user ID. Okay, this one is just one. So we're going to do that here as a request currency stream is a, that's good. This is read currency streams of my stream ID and the application user ID, and this is my currency streams, and this is receive currencies streams, like that. This is a receive currency stream singular and a currency stream get, and this is a read currency stream asynchronous of the ID, which is a currency stream. And then you'll do a receive currency stream as this one, and then you'll post the log. This one is the create. So this is a currency stream create. Now instead of doing this, I'm going to add a request under I thought I made a currency create request. Okay. So we'll make a new folder in here called a currencies streams, and we'll make a new one called a currency stream create request, and on this it'll be a public, and it's just going to have on it a GUID for my stream ID and a GUID for my currency ID. And then this will be a currency stream create request called request. And then we want to add that into my data access layer auto mapper. Right here is a currency stream create request, which can be mapped to a currency stream. And this is a currency stream create request called a request. And you'll pass in this request. Okay, you also have a remove here, which we can look at one of my other removes that I have. And this one here is a currency stream remove. And this is a read currency stream of my GUID ID. And this is a delete currency stream asynchronous. And this is going to be a remove currency stream, which will be a true, and a false, and a false. Looks good. So now we have to go add our backend here. And we can just move this up here under there. And all of these need to have on it a virtual asynchronous task. Okay. And on read currencies, we can add this in here as a currencies streams. I want to add on my context here a currencies streams providers, called a provider. Okay, so this is read currency streams. So we have a currency streams where my S stream ID is equal to stream ID, and my s.stream.application user ID is equal to application user ID. And this we want to include my stream and where it's active. Like that, and that'll do it. If I look at this one, we want to include currency almost for sure, right? So we're going to include my currency, and then on my currency stream DTO, I want to have a couple of things on here called my string called a currency name and a currency description. So on my auto mapper, I'm going to have a custom rule for that. Here. So when I'm doing my currency name, we're going to map it from my currency dot currency name. And then the same thing with currency description. And that's it. Okay, this next one, do you make this project just for fun, or do you plan on monetizing it? I'm going to be adding monetization in it, similar to what I did for OpenDJ Radio. It's all part of this project. Okay, so this one is my read currency. So let me put this here as a read currency stream. This is a currencies streams. and I want to include the stream. Like that. And when I look at this, it should include a currency and the number of statuses. And then I want to do var statuses equals await context dot statuses dot where my currency stream ID is equal to entity dot ID and it's active. Okay. And we only want to do if my entity does not equal to null. Like that. And then like that. I see. Hey, Zapoids, how are you doing? New to the stream, is there a TLDR? What exactly are you looking for? Like a timeline? What are you looking for about this? Or would you like me to talk about the project a little bit? Give me a little bit more information about what it is that you're looking for. Is it a technical? No, I don't know what you're talking about with those. So create, we can just steal that from this one. And this is a currency stream. I don't need this application user ID on a create. Read currency stream asynchronous. Oh, you do need that. Just a little bit of context, really. Sure, let me show the app here just as soon as I finish this. This is a bot project. I did this whole thing on Twitch initially. And what it does is it's an RSS routing project that takes in messages from Discord, from Twitch, from TCP, and from WebSocket, and it will route them accordingly. So you could route your messages from Twitch into a Discord channel, and then in from your Discord channel back into your Twitch. And then it's done on a really scalable platform. I'm using ASP.NET Core for it. And so the bot is already working. It has currencies in it. All that is up and running. And so what I'm doing now is I'm making the front end for the project because I would like to take it live. I've done enough testing with it. I feel good about how it runs. So now I'm making an Angular CLI front end, and I'm using ASP.NET Web API Core for the back end. I'm using SignalR as my data transfer layer. But then I also need to set up a TCP connection from my Web API to my server because I can't post SignalR self-host on a .NET Core console app. So that's what I'm working on. Hope that helps. Okay, we're going to do a delete now, which is this one, which is a currencies streams. We want to include the stream here. I don't care if it's active or not here. Interesting, what happened there? Yeah, really informative, thanks. No problem, happy to help. Or to bring you in about it. If you haven't, make sure you check out the YouTube. I put all the videos up there. And then we also have a community at the Discord with over 350 developers. It's a really great technical resource. Highly recommend you check that out as well. And that one looks fine now as well. So I think that those are all done. One thing I wanted to have with this VM here is I wanted to have a number of these DTOs in here called a CurrencyStreamProvider DTO, which needs to just be a public and it's a base DTO. And then we need to have a VM for that, which is a CurrencyStreamProvider VM. And on this, it needs to have a prop provider DTO called provider. And then also a prop currency stream DTO called a currency stream. And this needs to be a base VM. A base view model. Okay, and then we also need to have a currency stream VM. Needs to have a collection of currency stream provider DTOs called currency stream providers. Like that. So let's add those to the automapper here in the data access layer, which is called Currency Stream Provider. Which doesn't exist yet, okay? So that looks good. So I think the backend is ready to go now. Okay? So let's look at our front end now. And I need to implement this. So we'll start at my hub, which is my services web hub. And up here at the top, we're going to make pretty much these same things here, except for this one is currencies streams received, currency stream received, create currency stream received, remove currency stream received. Currency stream, like that. And then down here, we'll have the same thing. And this is on received currencies streams. We're going to have a currencies streams, which is an currency stream, as a currencies streams received. Receive currency stream. Like that. Create currency stream. Create currency stream received. And then a remove currency stream, which is remove currency stream. Looks right. Okay. Down here, we need to have the requests. So we could just copy these and do it again as a request currencies streams, which is a request currencies streams, which wants a stream ID, which is a GUID, and that's it. We want a request currency stream with just one ID, like that. Create currency stream, which is a currency stream create request, and a remove currency stream. And the last one that we need are these gets, which are here. And we have a get currencies streams. currency stream here, currencies streams received, get currency stream received, which is a stream. We have a get create currency stream and a remove currency stream. Okay, that looks good. In my interfaces, I need to have a interface called an CurrencyStreamCreateRequest, which needs to have in this a stream ID, which is a string, a currency ID, which is a string, and I think that's it. For game development, should I buy a laptop with an i5, i7 processor and integrated graphics card, or buy something with a GTX? I'm a PC user. I like a desktop more than a laptop. Depending on the type of games that you're going to be developing, most engines are 3D, so I would say you probably want the GTX 1050 or 1060 plus. Simple games, Unity. Unity's 3D engine though, so it uses hardware acceleration when it's running. So we're done there. No problem. I like a good desktop computer. I mean, I have a lot of monitors. I really like real estate when it comes to monitors. I have a laptop that I work with a lot, and I still hook it up to a lot of monitors when I'm using it. I just remote into it. So here we can do a this.webhub.create currency stream, and what this wants is a const currency, we'll just call it a request, which is a currency stream create request. And we want to do a this.loading equals true. And in this we want to have my stream ID and we want to have my currency ID. Okay. So now up here, I need to have a new subscription here called a currency create received subscription. And we need to destroy that here. And then in here we'll do a this one will subscribe this to be my get currency streams. No, it's a create currency stream. And we'll subscribe to that, which will be a status success, which is a boolean, and all we're going to say is if success, then we'll do a this.toasterService.success. The currency was successfully added to the stream. Add currency stream success. And then otherwise we want to do this.toasterService.error. The currency could not be added to the stream. Please try again later. Could not add currency to stream. Okay. We also want to do this dot loading equals false. Okay, the next thing is we need to have the remove. So if I look in here for a confirmation modal, I can just copy this code. And then, are you sure you want to remove this stream currency from the stream? And we want to have my mat dialog in here. And if it is true, then you want to do this.webhub.remove currency stream, which is this.id. It's that. And then we also want to have another one here called a currency stream remove received request, which we also want to unsubscribe. And then we want to have this thing again, which is a this dot currency stream remove equals this dot webhub dot get remove currency stream, and we'll subscribe that as a success, which is a boolean. And this is the currency was successfully removed from the stream. And this will be a removed currency from stream. The currency could not be removed from the stream. Please try again later. Could not remove currency from stream. Okay, the other thing that we want is when we have these currencies, we only want them to be enabled if it doesn't currently exist in stream currencies. So we'll have to do that a little differently, but we can at least test it for now. So let me recompile this. And we can run the backend. And we'll look at this one, this one, this one, and this one. We'll log in. Hey there, Zaphoids. Thank you so much for that follow. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to put them into the chat. Thank you for the support. And we'll look down here and I could say I want to add pixels. Now, when I do this, it's passing me the request, which doesn't have a stream ID. So let's stop this, and in stream, where you have this, we want to do stream ID is equal to ID, and we'll do it again. We'll log in. We look at stream. We add it. I should be loading, and I am. I've received it, and it should create one. And then we request the currency stream. Oh, that's wrong. This needs to be request currency streams for the create. And you need to pass in here your CurrencyStream.stream.id. Let's not do it that way. We'll do request.streamID and run it again. Okay. So when I launch it, we look at streams. Okay, it never loaded my currency streams. So if I look at stream currencies, it should be requesting my currencies, and it is. But what it's never doing is requesting my stream currencies. With this dot stream ID, and then we want to do this dot loading equals true. Good. So it's firing. It's passing in my stream ID. It's telling me it can't get any. So we'll look at this again. I don't see currencies streams receive subscription. Which is here. And then we want to subscribe that. Get currency streams, and we'll subscribe that as my currency streams, which is an currency stream array. And we're going to do this dot currencies stream currencies, which I need to rename that. Hey there, Sven van den Brande. How are you doing? Welcome to the channel. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to put them into the chat. Thank you for the support. And that's going to be your currencies streams. And then you're going to do this dot data source dot data equals this dot currency streams. And then you can do this dot loading equals false. Okay, so it requests. This time, still gave me null. So we need to figure out what's happening there. Receive currencies streams, it says. So is that even happening? Yeah, that worked. So let's move this up. And then we could say if currency streams doesn't equal null, then we can do this. Still never kicked it out. Maybe I can get rid of this here. So when I look at this, it gets my entity, which it says is null. Oh, read currencies streams. That would make the difference. One thing I notice inside of streams is that this internal component here doesn't need this. Okay, now it's erroring on me. Also, why is this thing still showing my name when I'm using the placeholder? It should not. Cannot read property length of undefined. So in string currencies, try it again. Really doesn't like in my streams component this placeholder. Okay, so this time we got my entities and it looks good. We're going to map my currency Let's try it again. Cannot read length of undefined. Well, that would do it. It's almost like it's not reaching the web, So it mapped it. It looks good. It returns the DTOs here, and then it's going to return my receives. Cannot read currency name of undefined, it says. So over where we've received this, this needs to be called currencies active in stream. Okay. It's telling me that it can't read currency name of undefined somewhere. So I think it's this that's failing. What's failing here? So it's definitely this. And it's this. There. Now we can see the pixels that are currently active in the stream. So let's go into my bots and steal this code again. Put this in the CSS, and that's going to be called currency name, currency description, and status. Okay. And that looks much better. Okay, we could try the remove here, see if that works. It took me here. It gave me the ID. It's going to request my currencies streams. And it needs to pass in here my currency stream.stream.id. Cool. So now we can add it. We can remove it. That worked. It didn't update this. Why didn't it update that? What? Instead of calling that, because this seems to be giving me some guff, we could just do this. Let's try it again. It didn't update it. Why didn't it update it? Receive currency streams. That should update in here. Oh, I know why. Because you have this nonsense. Now it'll work. We can add it and then we can remove it. There. Okay, that looks better. So let's do this again and get rid of this stuff and put it back as the await request currencies streams, my currency stream .stream.id. Okay. So that worked. So we need to disable those currencies if you can't currently add them. And then let me add one. I need to have this as a link, which would allow me to see and change all of this stuff. So if I look at my stream currencies here, at my currency name, I can do a, which is a router link, which is equal to this. And we want to say it's my element.id. And we want to put this at my currency stream, just singular. It tells me I never closed this thing out, and I didn't. There it is. Hey there, Mike Barley. How are you doing? Welcome to the channel. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to put them into the chat. and this doesn't navigate me anywhere yet. So let's fix some stuff. The first one is we'll open another console, and I want to do an ng generate component called a currency stream, which is in my module app. And then I'll do the same thing again, but for a currencies streams. So, oh shoot. Let me delete both of those. Do that again. I need to put them in my shared folder. Okay, and so now when I look at currency streams, we can bring in this stuff, and then we can bring in my HTML, and then my TS here, we can bring in everything under the class. We want this to implement on destroy, and we want to have the namespaces. We can get rid of stream currencies since we're working with this. Do you use virtual machines? I do. I have a FreeNAS behind me that has like 6 boxes running on it. So now when I look at my module, app module config, I'm going to have to get rid of some of these. Those. And we'll add in this and this one, which should clear up that error up here. Yeah, okay. And then in my stream component, this is not a stream currencies, but it's a currency streams. Okay, that's fixed. And then up here, I want to have a new one called Currencies Stream. And this is going to be a currency stream component. And we want to have that so it takes in an ID. Which means when you click on this, it should navigate me to currencies, currency stream. And we want that to be here. An i7 64GB should be good for 3 to 4 VMs. So Intel's got a thing about it. I use AMD's, but I would say probably 64 gigs of RAM sounds like enough. Are you running like a FreeNAS, or what's your overhead? Like, what are you running for your virtualization software? Okay, so that looks good. And then Currency Streams is now working. So one of the things that I wanted to do was on my currency streams, when we load this, we're doing this request currencies. So let me look at this again, and I want to say request currencies drop down, and we want that to be on the currency stream. Okay, and we need to pass in here my stream ID, which is a string. So over here, we'll have that as a public asynchronous task called request currencies drop down currency stream, which is a GUID for my stream ID. And we'll put this in there. And then what I want to have is up here a receive. So when we receive this, this is going to be a number of, we'll look at my interfaces, and I want to say that we have a number of these interface iCurrency dropdown extends iCurrency. And all it wants to have on this is disabled, which is a Boolean. So this is going to be a currencies dropdown, which is a iCurrency dropdown array. And this is a receive currencies dropdown, or we'll say it's my currencies dropdown received. Like that. We need to have this up here as an event. And then that'll be a new subject of those I drop down currency drop down array. And then down here, I want to have a get currencies drop down currency stream, which is a iCurrency drop down array. So in here now we could do this as a request currencies drop down currency systems stream, which wants to have my stream ID. And here we want to do a this dot request currencies this dot webhub dot request currencies drop down currency stream on a create, which is this dot stream ID. Same thing on this one. Okay. And then this is now a currencies drop down receive subscription, which is an iCurrency drop down. like that, called currencies dropdown. And then in my HTML, for each currencies dropdown, I want to have my, and I think I have it in here as disabled. And I could say disabled is equal to my currency.isDisabled. Going to be using VMware. Would you rather recommend a Threadripper? Oh, Threadripper's really expensive though, but they're nice. I like AMD. I have a 2700X. I think it works really, really well, except for watching Netflix. Going to be using it for multiple OS mainly. Never used NAS, but would love to learn. Probably around 3K for a VM. I built mine for half that or less. And I'm using FreeNAS with 48 gigs of RAM. I run, I think, 5 or 6 boxes on it, plus the FreeNAS, which sucks up 8 gigs of memory. So here, currencies dropdown received. Else, right here I want to say, it's a const here called existing currency equals this dot currencies streams dot filter x dot currency streams here comes from where request currency streams, right? These are only DTOs here, so that means that they don't have on them a currency ID. But they should. Like that. And then on my mapper, we want to have a currency ID is equal to ID. Okay, and then currency stream needs to have on this a currency name, which is a string, a currency description, which is a string, and a currency ID, which is a string. So this one where my currency ID is equal to this dot currency selected. So if my existing currency exists, then we're going to do a this dot toaster service dot error. This currency is already in the stream. Please choose another currency. And we'll say this is a select new currency. Select or create a different currency. Okay, otherwise you'll do your request here. Looks good. So down here, when you're doing your request currencies drop-down stream, we're going to add one in here called currencies drop-down currency stream get, which is this one. And in my services, I want to have a read currencies drop-down for currency stream. And this is going to be a number of currencies, and we want to pass in here a GUID for my stream ID. So here we first want to get my stream. And now if my stream does not equal to null, then I can get this. We also want to pass in here the application user ID. Oops. And these are my currencies. And then what you want to do is you want to call your await clients.caller.send asynchronous receive currencies drop down currency stream. And we're going to pass in these currencies. And that's it. And then we'll write the log. Easy enough. If I check my web hub, we should have a receive something something really long one. Receive currencies, drop down currency stream. Perfect. Now, in this models, we're going to create a new one in here called currency currencies currency stream VM. And on this, we want this to be extending a currency DTO. And all I want to add on here is a bool called isDisabled. What I want to do here is I want to get my currencies streams existing, which is equal to await services dot read currencies streams asynchronous of my stream ID and my application user ID. And then I'm going to get all of my currencies, and I'm going to say if my currencies streams existing dot any s where my currency stream ID is equal to currency.id. So here I'll say is disabled equals false. So if that's true, then is disabled equals true. And then I want to do a new var VMs equals a new list of currencies, currency stream VM. And why, instead of doing this, why don't we just do a prop currency DTO called currency, which means over here on my interfaces, this is now a currency currency which means that second, which means that on this one, this is a currency dot currency name. Currency dot currency name. And like that. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, that's running. Let's run the back end. Oops, this isn't going to work because I never finished this. I need to say vms.add a new one of these where my currency is equal to currency and my is disabled is equal to this. And then you're going to return here your VMs. So the last one is we need to implement this function, which is here. And we'll put this with read currencies for dropdown. There. And we want this to be a virtual asynchronous task. And we're going to be using my var context equals a new application DB context. And in here I want to first get my stream. So streams dot first or default asynchronous s where my stream ID is equal to stream ID and your s dot application user ID is equal to application user ID and it's active. So now if my stream does not equal to null, then what I want to do is I want to get my stream currencies is my context dot streams currencies currency streams dot where my stream ID is equal to stream.id and it's active. And what we want to do here is we want to include here my currency, right? No, we don't need to. Yeah, we do. We need that. And now what I'm going to do is I want to get my currencies. And I want to get the ones where my application user ID is equal to application user ID, and it's active, and there isn't any in stream currencies. Where your currency ID is equal to your now hold on. This is just read currencies asynchronous. Like that. And then we can actually get rid of this on the interface. And then this whole thing as well. We don't need this. It's unneeded. We'll rebuild it. Okay, that should do it. So now when I look at the Web Hub, when you're doing this, went down, but we are back. So now what I'm going to do is when I look at my streams here, we are populating the correct data, which is nice, and so we want to work on this. So if I look in my currency stream, it has a statuses in here. So we'll do that, and then we'll have a currency description here. And then we don't need anything to be a save bot. Just like that. And then you'll have a back. And then you'll have a save currency stream, which will just be called save. Okay, when I look at my TS for this, we'll just take all of this stuff and dump it into currency stream. And we have a currency name and a currency stream, a currency description. There is a loading. My bot type I don't care about. This is called a currency stream received subscription. And then a currency stream create subscription. And then here we're going to assign the ID, which looks good. And then on my bot create, which is this one, this is a get currency stream create. You have successfully saved the stream currency details. Save currency, stream currency success. And the stream currency details could not be saved. Please try again. We're going to say could not save stream currency. This here is my currency subscription, SignalR. And it's going to be my currency name here is a currency stream, which is a currency stream. And get currency stream, SignalR. So your name here is going to be your currency name. Your ID is that one. Your currency description is this one. And then you can turn off all this stuff. Okay, we need to inherit the onDestroy. And then this is my two subscriptions here. Like that. And in my init, we're going to have a this.request, this.webhub.request currency stream of my this.id. And then this is a save currency stream. And in this, we're going to have a this.webhub.save currency stream request save. I guess we don't need this, do we? And then we can get rid of all this other stuff. Looks good there. Let's take a look at this HTML. Should be good there. And we're going to need to add a partial. But when we take a look at this, now I received this, and when I click on it, it's going to take me to my receive currency stream. And right now, my currency stream here doesn't have those other values on it. So we want to add in here a prop string called currency name, a prop string called currency description, and a prop string called currency ID. And if I look at my auto mapper, I can just bring those here. And then in my services, I want to make sure that I include currency. Done. We'll try it again. We'll log in. Go to Streams. There it is. And it's loaded pixels. So over here, I can just say name, currency name. And then this one here is my currency description. And what I want to have now is a new component called ng-generate component in shared, and it's called status. And I want to make this a module app. You've mentioned a roadmap earlier. Do you have anything written down, or are you just going off ideas? Just the design that I have and that I write down on napkins and stuff. But this project has been one that I've been working on, well, for the bot for a while, so I kind of just know what I need. Status. So here, I can inject here my... We'll make this a subtitle, and then I'll do a mat card content, and I want to add in here my app status. We'll take a look. Says currency stream component. I don't see it. What's the problem here? Let me try it again. You seem to be absolutely banging through stuff. That's all. Thank you. I appreciate that. I try to work fast. Status works. So now the next thing is I need to have a button in here to add status, and then status is a, we could make it a modal. Well, the first thing that we need is a table in here for it. So if I look at my currency streams, we'll grab this, and I'm going to dump it into status. And we'll go ahead and say this is a status container. And we're going to say that this is user, status, and accruement amounts. And I don't care about this. And we'll have this button here, which is going to be a add new status. which will be called create status. And now in this, I want to put this as a mat card content. And now, when I look at this thing, this is going to be my status is greater than 0. Then if I look at my interfaces for iStatus, I don't have one. So let's go find a status view model. And I'll add this down here as a interface called iStatus. And what it is we have a status name, which is a string. We have a time, second, last activity before status, which is a number. We have a quantity, which is a number. So now when I pop this out, this first one is a status name, which is called status name, just like that, which is going to be called a status name. The next one here is the time sec last activity before status, which is time in seconds since last activity before status is active. So we'll just leave it like that. Which is called time sec last activity before status. And this one here is quantity. Then we want to have the remove button, which is called remove status. And we want to have one more, which is called edit status. Looks good. So now we can pop this one out. And in here, we need to have a couple of things. The first one is I want to have a loading, which is a Boolean. I want to have a status, which is an iStatus array. I need to have a function here called edit status, which is a GUID ID, it's an ID, which is a string. I need to have a remove status, which is an ID and a string. And here we could just have a alert remove status invoked. And this one will be a edit status invoked. We also want to have a create status. Hey Crypto Dev, how are you doing? Welcome to the channel. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to put them into the chat. If I look here at my interfaces class, I need to have a interface for an iStatus create request, which is the same thing as this, only also it has a ID. Quantity is going to be your this.quantity. Your name is this.status name. Time in seconds, since your last activity before the status will be this.timesec, the last activity before status. And then up here, we want to have the ID, which is a string, the quantity, which is a number, the status name, which is a string, and the timesec, last activity before status, which is a number. This dot, and we want to inject here my private web hub called web hub service. We want to do this dot web hub dot create status, which is going to be my request. We also need to have a couple of other things in here called this mat sort and displayed columns and a data source. So we have a mat sort in here. We have a displayed columns here of a status name, time second, and quantity. We have a data source, which is a number of these iStatus. This is wrong. Okay. Let me reopen this piece of HTML. And it looks good. So now when I run it, hey Bubby Bite, I'm still going. I had to take a break in just a minute though, but still cranking away. That looks good. That looks good. Here we go, user status and accruements amount. So if I was to look at this and change this to be the subtitle, just in time before sleep is calling. What time is it for you? Hey, Fallen Hope, it's been some time. How are you doing? Welcome to the channel. But I wake up early. Oh, I'm right with you. I do that exact same thing. I have a new monitor, Fallen Hope. No, I'm working on Allie.Chat. Looks good. And there's my create status invoked. Yeah, it's a curved one. That's what I ultimately went with, was a curved ultra wide. I know, I remember you telling me you bought the new one. How are you liking it? I know you were building the shelf for it. Why does that fail? Currency stream component on ng destroy. That's why. It's a TN panel. What is a TN panel? I'm buying 2 more. That's awesome. I like multiple monitors. That looks better. We can go back and no longer breaks. Hey there, Tinker Targaryen. How are you doing? Welcome to the channel. Thank you for that support. Very much appreciate it. If you have any questions, what I'm working on, don't hesitate to put them into the chat. So the only thing left is that I have the statuses that I want to show. Bubby says I can't live without 2. I got 3, and I'm going to be hooking up the 4th one here momentarily. So we need to add in our statuses now. And I can do this using a modal, which I think is probably better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a short break. When I come back, what we're going to do is we're going to add in our statuses, and then we need to add in a table in our currencies active and stream so that we can see each one of those statuses, maybe with additional information or not. And maybe we'll just use status alone in that form, and we won't even have this. So we got a little bit of stuff to do here, but it's coming along. After we finish our currencies, the other piece that we have is command sets and games. And then finally we have to do our chat itself, which is kind of fun. So thanks for staying with me. If you guys haven't, make sure you check us out at our Discord, discord.pixelhorrorstudios.com. Also make sure that you check out all these videos at youtube.pixelhorrorstudios.com. I'll just be back in 10. Thanks so much, guys. I'll see you in about 10 minutes.